Hola Marina, ¿cómo estás hoy?
Pues fenomenal, Ben, de celebración. ¿Tú qué tal?
Muy bien, también. Yes, we're celebrating because we're giving a name to this space, to this YouTube channel, to these weekly shows, and the name is...
I love real Spanish.
Yep, it's as simple as that. I love real Spanish because we love it and we know that you love it. Also because we're going to start putting these episodes out as podcasts as well. And we needed a name for that. And what better name than I Love Real Spanish? So you can find us on Apple Podcasts, on Spotify Podcasts. And if you listen elsewhere, let us know and we'll make sure that you can find us there as well. So also coming up this month, at the end of the month, we are having a real Spanish fluency workshop, which is going to be a series of 3 special videos. So make sure you're signed up to our newsletter so you don't miss those. We're celebrating that too. That's coming up in a couple of weeks' time. And what's this all about, Marina? I Love Real Spanish. Where do we want people to end up?
We want to take you all the way to real Spanish fluency and to not sound any longer like a lost tourist. And use the best and juiciest Spanish.
Yep, so that you're having really amazing experiences out in the real world. This is what happens to our listeners. They end up writing to us and saying, wow, I was in Seville last week and I was using the Spanish I learned with you guys, the real Spanish. And the people were saying, ¿Dónde has aprendido eso? Where did you learn that? So that's what this is all about. In these shows, we're going to be helping you with tips to get really fluent, and we will always be including some really cool real Spanish. Okay, so remember, you can supplement this, of course, with our beginner, intermediate, and advanced podcasts to really have the full package of total real Spanish fluency. But for now, we're starting today, Marina, with a mention of who?
A mention of our real Spanish superstars.
Yes, who are these real Spanish superstars? Well, these are people who have left us a comment showing that they're really going for it with their Spanish. And we'll pick a couple out every week. And this week we wanted to start with who? Ross, Marina. Ross, who left a comment last week saying...
Cuando estoy con españoles, me aseguro de llevar un cuaderno para apuntar las frases y palabras nuevas. Sin que se enteren, claro.
So Ross is when he's with Spanish people, he's always got a cuaderno, a notebook with him to write down para apuntar las frases y palabras nuevas, to write down the new words and phrases.
I don't know how Ross does this.
Because he says, sin que se enteren.
Under the table?
Claro.
Or in the toilet?
Yeah, I don't know, Ross, where you're doing this. But
you have to tell us your secret.
Congratulations, what a brilliant idea. This is what I did for my first, years in Spain. I'd be listening all the time for cool Spanish that I really liked. More on that in a minute. And I would write it down and then I would test myself on it. I'd start using it whenever I could so I didn't forget it. And the result was amazing for my Spanish. So very good tip. Write down what all these Spanish people are saying or what we're saying in the podcasts. Keep it and use it. So we also heard from...
Linda, who says, I love to listen to notes in Spanish and I also watch videos from the Museo del Prado. I am an artist and because it's my subject, I can guess more easily the content of the commentary. Maybe following a hobby in Spanish is an idea too.
Yeah, so fantastic tip from Linda. She's an artist, so she's watching stuff from the Prado and it's helping her Spanish. Match what you're finding out there when you're being a Spanish sponge, which is what we talked about last week, to your hobbies or your interests and your Spanish will fly. So amazing tip there from Linda. Thank you. Okay. We got a very interesting email this morning from Cameron. Yes. So one more thing before we carry on with our real Spanish fluency tip for this week and then lots of real Spanish phrases, right? Cameron wrote to us, Marina. What did he say?
He says, I am an A-level Spanish student and I would just like to say that your podcasts are fantastic and have helped me massively with my listening skills in Spanish. We use your podcast in class every week, and the podcasts you make are both very interesting and also helpful. My Spanish teacher, Sophie, is a big fan of the podcast and uses them as much as possible in the classroom. Okay,
so Cameron told us that Sophie, fantastic teacher, Sophie, I mean, what better than notes in Spanish in the classroom, said Sophie is ditching her students for a year to go travelling around in her camper van, and could we send her a shout out? So absolutely. Sophie, how do you say, Marina, have a great time?
Pásatelo genial.
Yep, y si pasas por Madrid, ¿qué?
drop us an email and we'll go and have a coffee with you.
Absolutely. Sophie, let us know if you're coming this way because we'd like to say thank you to you for using our podcast in your classroom. Marina, last week we talked about being a human sponge.
Yes.
Ser una esponja with Spanish. No? You've got to be filling your life with Spanish, and lots of you told us how you're doing that. This week, what are we talking about?
This week we are talking about love, love, love. I love real Spanish. Make it your mantra. And our tip for this week is that you make sure you keep words and phrases that you just love.
Yeah.
And you find them funny or interesting, or you like the way they sound, or you relate to them somehow. In this way, if you enjoy what you are learning, you are going to
Be more motivated.
be more motivated and learn quicker.
Your confidence is going to go up.
Exactly.
Like Ross, who's writing these things down under the table or whatever. Or like I did. I used to get the best Spanish from taxi drivers.
From listening to
the people on the bus.
In the bus, yeah.
And I would just keep the stuff that I thought, oh, that sounds so lovely. Oh, what a lovely word. Oh, what a lovely phrase. Yes, you've got to learn the verb endings and all of that bit by bit, but you've got to really keep the juicy stuff.
And the enjoyment of it.
Yeah, super important. If there's stuff that you think is a bit too complicated, well, leave it on one side, it'll come back. That's important too. But keep the stuff you love and keep the mantra, I love real Spanish. So let's have some real Spanish, Marina, now. Some of our favourites from this week. This is stuff that Marina has learned this week. Imagine.
One thing I learned this week,
yeah. Something that I learned or was reminded of this week that I love. Let's start with yours. Now,
Yes.
where does it come from?
Yes, my mom, who she loves refranes.
Sort of set phrases, no?
Yeah. So she was here on Sunday for lunch, and she shared with us this little. It's like between a chiste and a refrán.
Yeah, a chiste is a joke. So it's half a joke, half a sort of saying. It's more of a joke, really, or a teaser, no?
Yeah.
So what was it? She said.
El gato son dos animales.
So the cat is two animals.
¿Cuáles?
Which?
Es gato y araña.
Es gato y araña. It's a cat and a spider.
Yes.
But a spider? Why? Explain. It took us a while. We were all like, ¿qué? What's the abuela saying? I don't know. I'm not sure about this. And then suddenly it dawned on Marina.
Araña.
Yeah, araña.
Scratches.
It's gato y araña. Araña means spider, but it also means he
To
or
scratch,
she scratches. Yeah. Araña is to scratch. So it's a cat and a spider. It's a cat and it scratches because cats scratch. So well done there to the abuela who taught us all some real Spanish there. Even Marina didn't know that one. Mine is the word tropecientas.
Yes.
Tropecientas is a word for meaning loads and loads and loads of something,
yeah.
right? So we made a video recently for our inner circle members,
Yes.
all about sort of film and cinema. We were talking about that last month. And Marina was talking about how she saw Top Gun endless times.
With my brother, yes.
Yeah, when they were kids, right?
Yeah.
So the phrase you used was...
La vimos tropecientas mil veces.
So la película, la vimos tropecientos mil veces. We saw it 100,000 million times, But what a lovely word, tropecientos. And for me, that's just like, I love that word. Remember it, use it, enjoy it. And I'm learning Spanish all over again. So it's wonderful. So finally, another mantra of Marina's, and one that we like to use a lot here at Notes in Spanish, Marina, is...
Yes, we have several mantras in Notes in Spanish, but this one is no te rindas nunca. Never give up.
Never give up. Never give up on this wonderful, real Spanish learning journey, because the fruits are amazing when you're in some plaza in Spain and you're talking to the waiter and joking with the people at the next door table. Or, I don't know, maybe you come and have a coffee with us one day and we all chat in Spanish. Lo que sea, whatever. The fruits of this real Spanish journey are amazing real life experiences. So
keep any of these,
No te rindas
only
nunca.
the ones that you like in your notebook, under
Yeah.
the table,
Yeah.
or in the toilet. You can jot them down
yeah.
and use them.
Absolutely, yeah. So this week, what do we want you to do? We want you to do a couple of things. First of all, leave us a comment. We love your comments. And then we hear from all of you real Spanish superstars out there. The first thing we want to know, Marina, is...
What Spanish do you love?
Yeah.
Where did you learn it?
Yeah. Have you used it yet? Tell us about what you've loved recently. And if you've got a story about a situation when you were maybe traveling in Spain or talking to an intercambio or traveling somewhere else, speaking Spanish, the real Spanish that you've learned from Notes in Spanish, and you had a good reaction or it led to a good experience, or how your Spanish has improved and that led to a wonderful moment somewhere, please share that story with us. We love hearing those stories. Okay, so leave that in the comments, in English, in Spanish, no problem, doesn't matter. And finally,
yes, if you are new to our videos or our podcast, please subscribe to our newsletter so you don't miss any of our real Spanish.
Yeah, you can find a link underneath this, or if you go to notesinspanish.com, there's lots of places there to sign up to the newsletter. We've got the Real Spanish Fluency workshop coming up later on this month. That's going to be fantastic. We don't want you to miss that. And all of these wonderful podcasts, videos, and so on. We are going to fill your life with real Spanish. So remember the mantra, I love real Spanish. Leave us a comment y hasta la próxima.
Hasta luego.
Hasta luego.